Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. I am Bhavita Gopalchan. Thank you so much for joining us. Top of the news at this time. Defence Minister Wayne Sturge maintains that Trinidad and Tobago's airspace remains fully open and operational. Its assurance comes amid public concern arising from what the Minister of Defence described as misinformation circulating on social media. Earlier today, Sturge addressed reports shared online suggesting disruptions to the country's airspace following the circulation of a partial excerpt from a recent aviation advisory. He notes that the selective sharing of a notice to Air Missions Bulletin appeared designed to sensationalize what he described as a routine aviation issue. He says all airports remain fully functional and the Piaco Flight Information Region continues to accommodate normal commercial as well as private aviation traffic without restriction. According to Sturge, the advisory in question was issued by the United States Federal Aviation Administration and applies exclusively to U.S. registered aircraft operators. Well, law consultant Professor John Kennedy says attention is now firmly fixed on what comes next for Venezuela, following strong signals from the United States about its intentions in the country. Well, Professor Kennedy contends that given the Prime Minister's endorsement of the approach taken by U.S. President Donald Trump, there is no immediate cause for concern for TNT. On Saturday, U.S. forces led the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife to the United States to answer charges of drug trafficking and other offenses. Legal experts have since contended that the operation was illegal as it lacked the UN Security Council authorization. Well, here at home, the professor suggested that the country could potentially benefit economically, particularly in the area of energy, depending on how developments unfold.
Oil and gas is such a huge part of the Trinidad economy, and now that a new government will be negotiating those contracts, Trinidad will probably get a better cut on the oil revenue. There's a good chance that they'll get a better cut. So this may inure to the economic benefit of Trinidad, and that was a decision that the current Prime Minister decided to make. And at this point, it seems to be a winning strategy as far as the economy is concerned.
The professor, however, warned that while the development is still in its early stages, the uncertainty surrounding Washington's longer-term strategy for Venezuela poses risks. And a former energy minister is, however, cautioning that it is too soon to determine whether TNT will benefit from potential energy arrangements with Venezuela following the removal of President Nicolas Maduro. On CNC3's The Morning Brew program today, Kevin Ramnarine said the situation in Venezuela remains highly uncertain, particularly given that the installation of Delcy Rodriguez as interim president does not amount to a fundamental regime change. As a result, he argues there is no clarity on how existing or prospective energy agreements, such as the Dragon gas arrangement, will proceed.
The OFAC license is there. Now, President Rodriguez had made a statement a few weeks ago that all agreements with Trinidad and Tobago were off the table. Again, we don't know the legal status of the Dragon deal. There's also the Coquina Mannequin deal. People keep forgetting that one. I think that's an equally important arrangement.
Ramnarine contends that much will depend on how the United States chooses to engage with Venezuela in the coming months, including its position on sanctions, licensing and diplomatic relations. The former energy minister is now urging officials to focus inward.
The Venezuelan solution is one solution, and I say it's one of different solutions. Another solution is to focus on our own resources under our feet and develop our resources in the deep water, in the shallow marine, in the average depth water on land and so on. We still have a lot of resources that we could produce here in Trinidad.
Ramnarai maintains there were too many lingering uncertainties with the cross-border energy interests that can impact the country's operations. On to some other news now. The Beetham landfill has been closed to the public until further notice as a fire at the site continued overnight, leaving residual smoke visible across Port of Spain and surrounding areas this morning. The solid waste management company said all necessary resources have been mobilized to address the situation, including the deployment of the fire service. In the interim, waste collection service providers have been instructed to divert disposal operations to the Forest Park and Guanabo landfill sites while work continues to contain the Beetham facility. Now to this, the Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation is being asked to show mercy by deferring the immediate implementation of recently increased motor vehicle fees and penalties. It comes from the Owner Dealers Association days after amendments to the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act took effect. It meant increases in a majority of traffic offences, most of them by 100%. In a statement issued, President Rival Chattergun warned that the changes risk placing strain on motorists and businesses. He's urging the ministry to consider a 1 to 3 month deferral, seeing the sudden enforcement of higher fees has triggered panic among motorists. Well, Chattergun is also raising concerns about the long-term impact on the retail fuel industry and is proposing what he described as more humane, non-punitive revenue-generating alternatives. Let's take a short break. Support news when we come back.
Struggling with blood sugar swings, high blood pressure, or stiff joints? Take control with Aja Nutrition's powerful wellness trio. Berberine Plus supports healthy blood sugar. Blood pressure support helps keep your pressure in check. And Joint Aid keeps your joints moving so you can stay active every day. Don't wait. Choose Aja Nutrition for trusted, effective solutions. Available at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Feel better, move better, live better with Aja Nutrition.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Welcome back in sport. New head coach of Trinidad and Tobago's senior netball team, Lizelle Johnson, is satisfied with the response by the players to an invitation to national screening sessions. Johnson reported that Friday's session in Maloney featured the largest turnout of around 20 athletes, while screening in San Fernando and Mayaro on Saturday and Monday brought up to 9 and 10 players each. The sessions commenced the build-up to TNT's participation at 3 international tournaments this year. And speaking at the Mayaro Indoor Sports Facility on Monday, Johnson told Guardian Media Sport what happens next.
The next step after this is selection. So after all the screening is done, we're going to do, myself and the assistant coach, going to sit down together and group the players according to different positioning on the court, their scores, which is important, coming out of the screening, and then we will pick our team. And we have not decided on the numbers because, as you know, there are 3 major tournaments involved. 2 of them clash back to back. So we have to decide how we are going about our training to be able to have functional teams for those tournaments.
Johnson said she was happy to offer the opportunity to players to be seen and said even those that do not feature in her final plans would have gotten valuable exposure. Looking ahead, she wants to test her players in match situations.
I would love to have practice matches, so I have a few teams in mind. I have to speak with NTT in order to arrange that. So as soon as that is done, you all will know.
Well, that's it for sport. It's back to a break.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800 Trin or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800 Trin or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Whoa. Please, what do you think about the PNM in opposition?
Now, our opposition is a force. So if the opposition opposes our next opposition, is it really our opposition? Do you think Barry will be able to give water to all? Okay, for that question, tune in to the rundown on CNC3. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. every Wednesday. Yeah. All right?
We're going.
People's work.
Yeah, where?
No, the People's work. It's done on CNC3 on the rundown. Oh, you thought it was here?
Yeah, but
No, it's done on CNC3.
Questions remain over Venezuela's future as Nicolas Maduro and his wife pleaded not guilty in their first court appearance just days after their capture by U.S. forces. Here's more from CNN.
Deposed Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro was escorted by U.S. law enforcement back to a New York detention center after appearing in court along with his wife Cecilia Flores. The two were arraigned Monday on federal drug and weapons charges following their capture during a U.S. military operation over the weekend. Maduro and Flores both pleading not guilty to all charges. Maduro stating in court he was kidnapped on Saturday and that he is still the president of Venezuela. President Donald Trump over the weekend saying otherwise and threatening to expand military operations beyond Venezuela into Colombia. Maduro's capture now raising questions as to what may happen next.
It's a great country that's been decimated by the Maduro regime. Nobody is disputing that. No one's also disputing the fact that the overwhelming majority of Americans do not support another failed foreign war.
Former Vice President and Maduro loyalist Delcy Rodriguez sworn in Monday as Venezuela's acting president. Monday evening, top U.S. officials briefed a select group of bipartisan lawmakers on Venezuela in a classified setting. This amidst growing concern from some members of Congress who say the military operation was illegal because it lacked congressional authorization. The House Speaker pushed back.
My appreciation of this entire thing is it was completely authorized by law. It's well within Article 2, and now we're getting our Article 1 briefing exactly on the timetable.
Time for the weather forecast with Jean-Marc Rambisad.
After a clear and cool night, we had mostly sunny conditions to start the morning, but by 9 a.m., some showers moved in over eastern and southern areas of Trinidad. This afternoon, these brief isolated showers are expected to continue over both islands, leading us into a mostly fair night. Looking ahead, the relatively dry conditions extend into tomorrow, but Thursday to Saturday, there's a higher chance of some showers, mainly over Trinidad.
Well, thank you for joining us for a look at the day's developments so far. We'll have these stories and so much more coming up for you in a Midday Newscast at 7 p.m. today. Until then, have a great day.